Welcome to my watercolour channel, and on this channel I want to help you paint loose watercolours, but not just paint them with confidence. So hit that like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you get all my videos, and I share a lot of videos. And if you want to go a step further, I've got a website with membership. On this membership you get access to all the reference photos. We've got a members forum, so a community of like-minded artists who want to achieve similar goals to yourself. So let's get on with the video, and good luck if you decide to give it a go.
And the size is 10 by 14 inches. So remembering watercolour does dry a little bit lighter, so it may seem a little bit dark at the moment, but when that's dried it'll be lighter. So I'm going to load the top of the paper up because this will dry quicker than down here. I've got my board at about a 30-degree angle. Alright, so now we're coming over to where these clouds are. So need to be careful to try and keep some of that white paper, and I'm weakening the wash as it comes down to the horizon here. Yeah, we've managed to keep a little bit of cloud there. And let's have it nice and light over this side. So try and make these clouds a bit more natural looking. So again, I'll take some clean water where that cloud is. So a little bit dark. I should paint around the boat, but that is going to be a darker tone, so it's not too much of a worry. And this is where the reflection of that cloud is. Going with a little bit of cobalt blue down at the base here, just to make it a little bit darker. I would maybe suggest a few ripples in the water. So make a green. Let's put some raw sienna in, make it more of a natural looking green. So we can see a bit of the bank in the distance there. This is an opportunity to cut around these boats in the distance. Kind of just disappears without a hard edge, so I'll just use some clean water there. Barge in the distance here, which is just abstract shapes. Get the bottom nice and flat there, so it looks like it's sitting on the water. Suggest the mast. Try to get the mast in the right place. And just a little bit of dry brush. Just going to lift some paint off the side of that with a dry brush. This is where the bead of water here is invaluable. So I get a nice graded wash. The green gets a little bit stronger in the foreground, but be careful with greens, that we don't want it to look unnatural. So try to get them not vibrant green. That I use some raw sienna there that tones it down quite a bit. darks here that are where the riverbank is in shadow. And so by doing this while the paper's still wet, we'll get some nice softness, so it won't look like these dark areas are just painted on top of the green. And we've got a couple of posts sticking out of the water there. That's a bit of interest. Go in with a bit of orange before this does dry. Put a bit of water on there just to give it a bit of texture. So now for painting the main feature, this barge. I've used some Viridian with a touch of cobalt blue to get this colour on the barge here. So a nicely loaded up brush, and try and get a nice fluid look to the boat. That I don't want lots of individual colours. I want it to look like it's all been painted in one go. I've just used a little bit of neutral tint. It's darker here. So obviously this is where the boat turns away from the light. And then straight down to the dark under here point, so I can hopefully get a fairly accurate line. I think I'll put that line in afterwards. And that dark goes right underneath, it carries on down there. I'll take some clean water. So this is the side of the boat that's getting some light. Reload the brush. And I think I'll go for painting the reflections while the boat is still wet, because I think I quite like to get some connection in there. So we'll put this shape in here. Bit of red on the front there. So this is an oil painting, the reference picture, whereas obviously I'm doing a watercolour. So I find with watercolours it's better to keep the reflections simple, so I won't put in so many of the colour variations that we can see in the reference picture. And try and paint it simply, the reflections. Paint that boat first before the reflections, but be okay. So what I can do is just use some clean water. So kind of replicating what's above. But ideally I probably should paint what's above first before I do these reflections, but as I've got a reference source, it's fine. Just before this dries, I shall just lift a little bit of paint off there, if I can, which is just a bit of reflected light from the water on the side of the boat. So we've got this yellow on the front of the boat here. Could just put a little suggestion of colour in there. Let's give it a try. That's going to happen. So there's a bit of green reflected there. Put that shape there. I can just use a brush that's damp with the water squeezed out, just to lift maybe a few bits of light out of the reflection here. But best not to go too mad with it. So I think I need a nice crisp dark along the bottom here. Nice.
So hopefully you're enjoying this video. Please do hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want to join me on memberships to take your watercolours to the next level.
So now we're just putting in these bits of detail. So there's a shadow that falls across that in the front. Nice dark in here. Green kind of on the side of the boat here again. Make sure I've got no paint on my hand as I rest it on the paper. Paint on the brush. This material, which he's done a great job of painting this. I'm doing my best. And then it's got some greys. More blue. Links up to there. So it's good to leave a little bit to the imagination, but we don't have to paint every little exact detail. So this is a fairly new brush, so it's got a real fine point on it, so I can probably get away with doing these rigging lines. And the best way to do these is not to have a solid line. Break the line up as you go. It will look more natural. And then we've got a nice curve there. That's fine. This could be a little bit lighter. I'll get overboard with detail. Get that quite a nice dark there. Side of the boat is quite dark. It comes through here. Dark here. And it's quite dark under there. So it's a case of just really looking at where all the lights and darks are. And again, make sure you get your tonal values right, and you can't go wrong. Bit more warmth on the side of that boat. So I think we can just suggest a few ripples in the foreground here, and a few So there's a couple of little highlights on the ledges of the windows there, so we'll put those in. Yeah, so let's put some of those flowers in. So I'm using a little bit of gouache and a little bit of cadmium yellow. And we can just put a few little suggestions of flowers. Keep them bigger at the front. Just help to bring that area to life. And there's no birds in the painting that I'm using as a reference, but I'm going to put some in right in this nice white cloud. There's one there. And I have one on that side of the boat. It's fine. So I think that's not a bad effort to pay homage to a great master painter. So by sort of keeping these areas fairly undetailed, it draws your eye more to the focal point here, and the sky, I managed to capture that cloud in there, which again adds a bit of interest for the reflection in the water.
There you go. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Please do hit the like and subscribe. Check out the links in the description and watch this video next if you enjoyed this one, because you're going to love this one.